SportsLine Live. We are back. As you guys know, I am Kelly Stewart. I am joined by Preston Johnson. We're going to talk a little bit of USC at Washington. Current line, USC +8. Preston, like I talked about during the Power Rankings video, I'm not sure I'm buying this Trojan hype, but somebody else obviously is. The line already dropped down from the opening number of 10, which is what I made the game. The Huskies are averaging 43.8 points per game, which is the second best in the country. Not to mention, they've also covered 4 out of their last 5 in this matchup. Interesting, though, the Superbook had this line at Washington -3 back in August. So now we're seeing a huge shift in the perception of both teams. Tell me what side you like in USC Washington.
I'm not sure I like a side, at least yet. And I might play one, but probably not. In the way I lean is USC, and for the same reason you're not really sure about USC, I would say I'm not really sure about Washington. Who have they actually beaten? At the time when they beat Stanford and Oregon, it maybe seemed like they were going to be good wins, which has not been the case. You look at their actual schedule. I looked at my actual list of power ratings, and they haven't played anybody yet that's in my top 25. That's pretty significant. They have not played a team in my top 25, let alone a team like USC, who now is in my top 10, my 9th best team in the country. And even then, I think they're only a point from being like 6. So I really think that even though they're home, that's why the spread's going to be over a touchdown. I think 7.5 is my number. I think that's fair to be at 8 as far as that goes. But they're playing the best team they've faced all year. USC's already played Alabama and some of the better teams that Washington hasn't yet. And we're going to learn a lot about this Huskies team. They play USC, and then they also play Washington State on the road to end the year, who's also in my top 20, and Colorado, who's just they're barely outside my top 10, is who they'll probably see in the Pac-12 title, assuming that they win out. So they're going to go from not facing any top 25 teams to playing 3 out of the next 4 games against top 20 teams. So we'll learn a lot about Washington. You obviously know the coach is really good. Chris Peterson, he's done it at Boise State with less talent. He now has a kid in Jake Browning who's just been absolutely phenomenal. He doesn't get talked about enough because of Lamar Jackson, but he deserves to probably, if Lamar wins the Heisman, he has to be the runner-up and finish second. He's thrown 34 touchdowns to just 3 interceptions. He's going to lead potentially an undefeated team, Pac-12 champion, to the college football playoff. The one thing that shocked me, I saw it when I was watching the Cal game, and it actually went up. So I looked at the numbers before we started this video. But he's thrown 34 touchdowns on 149 completions, which means 23% of his completions, every time he completes a pass, it goes for a touchdown. So almost 1 out of every 4 completions results in points for Washington, which is just absurd. Before that game against Cal, where he threw for 6 touchdowns, it was at like 15%, I believe. So it skyrocketed because he just threw a bunch of bombs against Cal, and they were scoring. But even that 14.9% number, it was the best of all time, and now it's up to 22.8%, I think. So he's done some stuff that no one's ever done before as far as his efficiency as a quarterback goes. And if they can continue to do it, it might not matter that now they're playing better teams if they're just that much better. The problem is a lot of times you play to the level of your opponent, and we need to find out, and I think we will this week against USC. Are they able to beat good teams, not just mediocre ones? So I'm really excited about this game. I think a lot of people don't know Washington has the number 3 offense in the entire country. It's like Louisville, La Tech, and Washington. And earlier in the season they weren't even in the top 20, and they've just been crushing teams now. And so they have an offense potent enough. USC's defense isn't that great. I think they're like 35th in the country. Washington has, I think, the number 10 or 11 defense in the country. So everything says on paper Washington's better. They're at home. They're supposed to win this game, and I agree with you. USC's, who really knows? They've lost 3 games. People forget that just because they've won 5 in a row. Sure, they've turned their program around, and the new quarterback was a big help. But I worry that Washington's going to be like kind of a little wake-up call. We're playing faster teams, more athletic, more physical teams than we've ever played, to this point in the year. So I'm just going to sit back and watch most likely. I played an under last week in a Washington Cal game that I was like 4 points ahead of close. I had no shot. So unless the total is really, really high again, I don't think I'll be getting involved at all.
All right, Preston, as always, thank you. And make sure you guys check out Preston and I's Power Rankings video on sportsline.com.